I'm Elizabeth, the Wedding and Events Coordinator here at Jackstar Weddings. Some of you may already know, but for those of you that don't know, I used to also be the Wedding Coordinator at Quorn Country Hotel. So obviously I've picked up lots of information from doing that role and working at the hotel and, working at lots of weddings there. So lots of information that I can use to benefit the couples that I work with who are getting married at Quorn Country Hotel now that I'm at Jackstar Weddings. So at Quorn Country Hotel, obviously it's a lovely venue. They've got different function rooms that you can use there. So you've got the Leicestershire suite, the Orangery and the CHARNWOOD suite. And there's lots of positives to all of those different rooms. But there's some sort of 10 key tips that I'm going to give you today for a Quorn Country Hotel wedding. So hopefully that you find it useful. And of course, just let me know if you've got any other questions at any other point, or you want me to sort of give you some more information on anything that I spoke about today. So yeah, I'll start straight off with the first point. So number one is don't forget to make the most of the space in the foyer of the Leicestershire suite. So the Leicestershire suite's a great room, like it's inside of it, it's got plenty of space. But another massive benefit is the fact that you've got that foyer area just to the entrance of the Leicestershire suite. So make the most of it. It's there. So with it being a good amount of space, and it's literally just to the entrance of the Leicestershire suite, so it's not like a million miles away, it's literally there. Use it for things, so you can use it for like casual seating. So if your guests want a bit of a time out from the music and the kind of the busy room, they can go and sit out there. Or if you've got any maybe parents with young children and they need a minute to sit out, they can sit there. That's a really good idea. If you're going to book a photo booth or a magic mirror, they're really good to put out in the foyer, just because it gives you more room out there. Because once you start adding everything into the Leicestershire suite, so all your tables, your dance floor, your DJ, your buffet table, your gifts table, all of that, it kind of adds up. So it's better to kind of create more space by having your photo booth or magic mirror in that area. It just works perfectly. It's right, you have to walk through the foyer to get into the room, so people are going to see it then. People have to go back into the toilet through the foyer, so they'll see it then as well. Another tip on that would be if you keep the first door open that's closest to the bar, if that's possible, so then guests can kind of go in and out a lot easier, and then they can use the photo booth or the magic mirror easy as well. So definitely recommend doing that and just making sure you think about what you could use that space for, because it's there. So what I would say is if you are going to go for a photo booth or magic mirror in the foyer area, then to still have casual seating, but to put that in a conservatory area instead, just because you probably won't have room for both. So number two is use LED cubes for your casual seating. So casual seating, like I said, I've mentioned it in the first point, it is important to have some sort of casual seating available, because with your evening reception, if you've got quite high numbers, you're not going to seat everybody for the evening reception. You'll only seat people from the daytime and maybe like a few extra tables. The chances are you won't have a seat for everybody around your banqueting tables for the evening reception. So it's good just to have those options spread across the room somewhere, or like I said, either in the foyer or in the conservatory. So LED cubes are great for this, because you've got the cubes, which are the actual seats, and then you have a table with each set of cubes, and so the table's just somewhere, people can put their drinks and stuff down. Another great thing about them is they do light up. So for instance, in the conservatory, if you don't want to just have bright lights on in there, because everywhere else is kind of a bit dark, we've got the party lights going on, they give off their own light, so they'll create that light whilst also still keeping that party feel, so it won't just kind of stand out really oddly with having really bright lights on. And the same goes for the foyer. Also, if you want to make it even brighter, so you do want to keep that main lights off, if that's a possibility, and you want a bit more light than just the LED cubes themselves, speak to us about adding some up lights onto that as well, and that will just make it a lot more brighter, and we can look at the different colours there as well. So a bonus tip on that is you can use the LED cubes outside. So most of the time the area directly outside of the conservatory attached to the Leicestershire suite, there isn't seating there, so you could look at having the LED cubes there, so there's outdoor seating that isn't already there, and it does provide the light outside as well, so because it does not normally light in straight outside of that area, so a bit of a bonus there. So number three, we have only 2 of the 3 partitions open of the Leicestershire suite during your wedding breakfast. So you're probably aware that the Leicestershire suite does divide up into 3 different sections, and they're divided between 2 partitions. So the most popular thing to do there is, if your numbers are the right numbers for it, the guest numbers, is to have 2 sections open during the meal, so that the third section, which is mainly used for the evening kind of DJ and the dance floor and everything, that can be partitioned off so that the DJ can just arrive and set up behind that section while you eat and do your speeches without anybody knowing. So there isn't any disruptive noises of people kind of carrying boxes around and equipment around, and it will just run really smoothly. So then when it comes to, say, 7 o'clock, that's where your evening reception starts, it will just be a case of the staff at the hotel opening up the partitions. It will take a matter of minutes and then you're ready to go. It's just really straightforward and easy that way. So number 4 is have your top table in front of the bookcase in the CHARNWOOD suite. So if you're going to have your wedding in the CHARNWOOD suite, and you're trying to think about where your floor plan, how your floor plan's going to lay out and where you're going to put everything, I'd definitely recommend having your top table in front of the bookcase. Just because it's lovely, it looks beautiful, it's a backdrop in itself, and the framing of it will be lovely for your photos. When your photographer gets photos of you at the top table. And it will just look lovely there. Another thing I would say on that would be, normally in front of the bookcase, everything kind of gets moved around for the evening reception, so your DJ would actually go in front of the bookcase. So something that I normally recommend to people to look at adding onto their package is uplighting. So the uplighters will go at the bottom of the bookcase and glow that up for the party in the evening. It just really shows off the bookcase, makes it a bit of gives it a bit of party feel, and it can be a colour of your choice. It's just something to make it a bit more special, really. On the other side of that, it's quite rare that people don't like it, but some people don't like the bookcase but they like everything else in the room. If you don't like the bookcase, then you can think about having a backdrop in front of that, like a starlit backdrop. So say that does put you off, don't let that put you off of that room if you like everything else, because you can have backdrops to fit that perfectly. So number 5 is go for ceremony drapes in the orangery. So Kyra from Take a Seat, who you may already know, she's another recommended supplier at the hotel, and she has an option to add on drapes to the orangery windows. It's popular to use for the ceremonies that are happening there. So I would definitely recommend at least looking into the option of adding that onto your package. They just look really beautiful anyway, and they do just add a bit of privacy to the room. I think that's why a lot of couples tend to go with them. It just makes it slightly more private, just in case there's anybody walking to reception, any other guests, or it's just a bit more private for the car park as well. So number 6 is, if you're using the whole of the Leicestershire suite all day, you're not just using 2 of them during the day, you're using it all day, I would definitely look into arranging early setup. So early setup just means, so like I said earlier about how with the third partition closed, that's where the DJ and the evening bits would be set up. I'd look into getting those things set up early, so there's no disruption in the evening, so everything can just be open all day, everything's all set up, so then when it's time for the evening there'll just be a bit of a tidy up, nothing major, and then the party will be ready to start. It won't come to sort of 6 o'clock and people are having to come in bringing loads of equipment in while you're trying to eat peacefully and do your speeches. It'll be quite disruptive, so I definitely see what the options are there if that's a possibility. So number 7 is, if possible, have a bedroom booked the night before the wedding to get ready in. So of course, with it being a hotel, you have got the advantage that there should be an opportunity there to look into booking a bedroom the night before. So if you can do that, it would just make things a lot easier. You'll already be there. You don't have to have any travel time in the morning to the hotel, so that'll give you more time to get ready. You'll be able to relax. You'll have already taken all your things there. You're not just going to turn up in the morning and bring everything in. Everything should already be there. You've then got the chance and the opportunity to have like a nice breakfast there in the morning, a nice cooked breakfast to kind of give you a good start to the day. And of course, you'll be around in the morning for any sort of last minute changes or adjustments that you need to make. Then we have number 8, which is make sure you and your guests book bedrooms. So again, it's a hotel, make the most of it. So quite often, even couples who get married there and they're quite local and their family and friends are still local, they still tend to book bedrooms if they can. just because it's a lot easier, you know, it means that you can kind of let your hair down a bit more, enjoy the night without having to worry about arranging taxis home. And it also means that the next morning you'll be able to kind of reminisce over the day and catch up about the wedding, you know, the day before, and have a bit of a catch up and sort of see people that bit more before everyone kind of goes home then. So then we have number 9. Which is take advantage of all the beautiful photo opportunities. So Quorn Country Hotel is definitely blessed with lots of different photo opportunities inside and outside. So I would definitely suggest to speak with your photographer ahead of the wedding about arranging a little walkthrough at the hotel ahead of the wedding, just to kind of go through all the different shots that you want to be featured in your day, so you can have a bit of a list so you don't get any missed. So when you look back on your photos after when you don't think, oh, we didn't end up doing that one or getting that photo that we really wanted. So I'd recommend looking into that. Another thing I would say is, if the weather is really lovely, so you do go outside for a lot of it, you know, you're quite lucky in that way, and you get most of your photos outside, don't forget to take some photos of the lovely different places inside, you know, including like the staircase and the fireplace. I would try and include both still, even if, like I said, even if the weather's really nice and you get to go outside. So the final one, number 10, is plan your floor plan in the CHARNWOOD suite to maximise the space. So the CHARNWOOD suite is lovely. It's a bit more quaint, so it's a bit smaller than the Leicestershire suite, so it obviously depends on your guest numbers which one you would go for. But it's a gorgeous little room, and the good thing is with the room, you've got the kind of, again, obviously you have to speak to your wedding coordinator at the hotel, but you normally have that bit of space just outside, so maybe near the bar area, or potentially the garden room as well. So just speak to them about the options there, because, you know, when it comes to the evening reception, things will be moved around a bit, so you want to make sure you've got enough space in there. So think about where you're going to put your buffet and everything. So for instance, like a buffet table, if you are feeling like your numbers are becoming kind of back to the maximum number that you can fit in there, and you're adding things in like a sweet table and a cake table and everything's getting a bit more, if you think it might get a bit too busy in there, maybe discuss the options about having your buffet just sort of outside of the room or in the garden room. And the same goes for if you're having a photo booth or magic mirror, that works really well in there in the garden room as well. So there's a few different options there, so, you know, there shouldn't be too many restrictions and, you know, space restrictions. You should be able to work a few things out there. But yeah, I hope that you found that useful. Like I said, let me know if you want any other advice, if you want to learn any more about kind of how our services work really well there. Just let me know anything that you want any help with to do with your Quorn Country Hotel wedding.